Dear students, usually it becomes a confusion for English learners. Either they are at the beginning level or at intermediate level or even at their advanced level, whether they have to use if I were or if I was. So let's proceed. First of all, the most important thing that you need to recall or keep in mind that whichever the clause that begins with if, that is always a dependent clause. And as it is a dependent clause, it must need some independent clause to clarify its meaning. But remember, here now we are not going to classify or study the clauses. It's just an introduction because we have another lecture on dependent and independent clauses. If you want to study in thoroughly, you can go and check that lecture. Right now, the if clause, that is also called a conditional clause or a dependent clause, that is in past simple, if I were, and the independent clause that would take would plus first form of verb. For example, if he asked me, I would help him. If you told him the secret, I would beat you well. So in these cases, this is a conditional type 2. So all the sentences that begin with if, they always make a conditional sentences. So here we're again not going to study the conditional sentences in detail. Rather, if you want to study the conditional sentences, you may attend some other lecture that is thoroughly on conditional clauses. So what's the difference between if I were or if I was, and which one should you use? If you are a beginner, you can use if I was. Or if you are a teacher, you can teach to the students if I was to the beginners, because it is sometimes become really baffling for the newbies that they recently had learned if I was, and you were, they were. So they had sought differences between the use of were and was. So they will obviously become confused on using was with I. So you can teach them at the beginning level that if I was, because it is acceptable in casual conversations or informal writings, or for the learners who are at the beginner level. But if you are going for some IELTS exam or some other academic writing, or you are a grammar nerd, then you should always use if I were, because it gives a hypothetical or non-real situation. So always prefer to use if I were. If I were you, I would accept that offer. If I were the boss, I would give incentives. If I were lucky, I would marry her. And if I were dwarf, I would do conjuring tricks. So in these sentences, you would probably have seen that we have used the different contexts. Some casual contexts, casual conversations, and some are very official conversations. So in both the cases, in either cases, you would always prefer I were, not I was. But for the beginners whom you have just taught that I was and you were, for them you can clarify, or it is acceptable to use I was. So thank you very much. I hope it is clear to you. Goodbye.